Hello, good evening, everyone. I am Gigi Howard. I'm host of the podcast Drinks in the Library, the only library where drinks aren't just allowed, they are required. New episodes drop every Tuesday, in which I interview a guest about their favorite book and we pair it with a drink. And I am so excited to be back with my friends at EveryLibrary, the only political action committee for libraries. And we are here with the amazing Rex Ogle and Dave Valeza, author and illustrator of the hit book Pizza Face. So, hi guys, so glad to have you here tonight. Yes, here are copies. And just a little bit about our guest. Rex is the author of Free Lunch, recipient of the YALSA Award for Excellence in Nonfiction for Young Adults. His original graphic novel series, Four Eyes, is based on the highs and lows of his middle school years growing up in Texas. When he's not busy writing in Los Angeles, Rex can be found hiking with his dog, playing Mario Kart with his friends, or reading his new favorite book. Learn more about Rex at rexogle.com. And then Dave grew up in Covina, California, pursuing his love of drawing. He earned his bachelor's degree in illustration and a master's degree in sequential art. In his spare time, Dave enjoys biking and doodling around Savannah, Georgia, where he lives with his husband, cat, and dog. And you can find out more about Dave and his work at davevaleza.com. So excited to be here with you both tonight talking about Pizza Face, which is the second book in this series. A wonderful star review from Book Page. Pizza Face is a fresh take on the age-old crisis of puberty that will help adolescents feel more empathetic and less alone while navigating their own physical and emotional changes. So, Rex, let's start with you. What was your inspiration for writing this story, the sequel to Four Eyes, right?
Yeah. So Four Eyes came first. Basically, I had moved to. I've been writing for years. For a decade and a half, 2 decades, more than that. But I was working in New York City as an editor, and I was writing full time and getting rejected all the time.
Mm.
And then a few years ago, I was like, okay, I'm taking a year off. I'm just going to write full time. So I moved to Los Angeles. When I got here, I was driving around and I was like, wow, the signs are really blurry here. They really should fix that. And my partner was like, the signs aren't blurry. And so I had to go to the eye doctor for the first time in a while because in my 30s, I wore contacts a lot, and because I was still a little ashamed of glasses. And so I started wearing LASIK. I got LASIK,
Yeah.
and it wore off. It wore off after
Oh,
10 years. So
no.
when I moved to LA, I realized I had to get glasses again. So I went in, and while I was sitting in that chair and they were doing all the eye checking, I was like, this could be a book.
Yeah, so that was kinda your story with Four Eyes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
and then, so let's talk a little bit about Pizza Face that just came out.
Yes, pizza
Yeah.
face.
What's
Um,
our story here?
so yeah, I'm taking back the names that I was called and made fun of in middle school. The first one, Four Eyes, is pretty obvious. Pizza face is obvious too if you had pimples like I did. And yeah, so it just feels like so many kids are going through these experiences. I wanted to kind of share a story to let them know that they're not alone, that you will survive, that you'll get through it. I will say, like, the embarrassment of the glasses wore off after middle school or after sixth grade. And then it came back in high school because I went through a really awkward phase. And then I went to college and I got contacts, and then I thought I was really cool. And then I moved to New York and I kept getting grit in my contacts. So my doctor was like, wear glasses. And then I was like, glasses aren't so bad. But I kept sitting on them. So I got the
Uh,
LASIK.
oh. Yeah, well, I know I also wear glasses usually, I don't have them on right now, but
Same,
that
same.
that's another story, I guess. Alright, and I'd love to hear, from Dave about your experience illustrating this book and how you got involved in the project.
Well, here's the short version. So I was working just like in a big box store. I worked a retail job for about 10 to 12 years. And I would just stop, get some coffee, do some sketchbook drawings, post that on Instagram. I did that like typically like every day. And Rex followed me on Instagram and he was looking to collaborate with artists. So he reached out to Editorial at Scholastic and said, can you contact this artist? I would love to work with them. I had studied uh, comics and illustration, but I was working like a lot of just mostly freelance jobs. So it was really wild to just get an email from the publisher one day after just working a regular retail shift, and that's really how it came about. And I was just so stoked to work with Rex because I love comics. I've been reading comics since ever since I was like a kid. So like Calvin and Hobbes, Peanuts, you know uh, those kinds of books. So it was a really wonderful opportunity to start working with Rex, and I'm really excited to just keep our collaboration going too as well. It's been really wonderful to see both books out in the world.
Yeah. That is such a beautiful story of you staying with your passion. And have you all like, you've been illustrating all your whole life, every day, working on it?
Yeah, yeah, no, it's it's funny. Like after I graduated from college, like again, like working freelance jobs, like I really wanted to work in publishing, but like obviously, uh, it's part of everyone's adult journey, trying to balance work, trying to balance life, trying to balance like everything
Yeah.
that you want to do. And it didn't quite happen right away, but I was really inspired by a lot of my artist peers and colleagues. So that really kept me drawing like other artists, other people creating things. Just like especially now, like I'm just like trying to see like what books are out there, like who's making what, because like I'm just I think I'm always just going to be inspired by other artists, and that's always going to keep me drawing. Like it really is something that gives me my that personal momentum. So yeah.
Oh, very cool. So, Rex, have you collaborated with an illustrator before? Was this your first time doing this?
So when I was in New York City, I moved there because I wanted to be a writer so bad. Like Dave, I grew up on comic books. Calvin and Hobbes and X-Men were my jam all the time. So when I moved to New York, I kind of was very, very pushy and very aggressive, and managed to get myself an internship at Marvel, which was amazing. And then I got
Wow.
a jobby job at DC Comics,
Yeah.
uh, which was awesome because I didn't really want to work on X-Men because I didn't want my love to feel like work. So I was glad to go to DC, work on Batman, Superman, Justice League, Teen Titans. And while I was there, I got to write a few short stories here and there. I wrote a little mini series. So I was collaborating with artists on that. And I was really learning kind of behind the scenes, like the best way to talk to artists, because I worked with a lot of writers and some of them were really arrogant and thought that they were super smart and would not collaborate with the artists, and they would tell them what to do, and they were nasty and mean. And I was like, if I'm ever a writer, I'm never going to do that.
Mhm.
Because the artists, I mean, they do all the work. I mean, I love writing the story, but I have all these ideas, like I put it down, but it takes the artist so much longer to do the art
Yeah.
than me to do the writing. So, I mean, my hat's off to Dave.
Oh gosh, Rex, stop. No, I appreciate it. No, like
Yeah. And I'm curious, because so, like, what is the process when you're collaborating together? Because I'm sure you each sort of have your own vision of what the story looks like, right?
Like it's for me, it's different with every project. Like when I do something for Marvel or DC, it's I come up with an ideas, but the characters already exist, so the history is already there. I'm just coming up with like a small story that happens in their lives. With something like Four Eyes and Pizza Face, I was pulling from my own life, and that's harder than writing fiction because finding like a beginning and end space is hard. But I had a lot of reference, like I went and took a lot of pictures, and also I think I've been trying for so hard and writing for so long that like I feel like I know how to like give a good script to an artist and be like, here's reference, like do this if you want to, like if you have a better idea. And that's the thing, is like sometimes Dave will do something that I did not expect, and I'm like, "Oh my god, it's so amazing!" And also, again, hats off. The amount of detail that Dave has in almost every panel. I mean, there's like little X-Men posters
Oh,
that I owned as a kid on the walls of the bedroom that I never gave him reference for. He just like knew, and it was a Generation X poster. So cool. But yeah, I write the script, our editors edit it, and then it goes to Dave.
yeah. And Dave, what's it like for you to be able to put those like really cool personalized details in the story?
Oh gosh. Well, it's well, first, speaking of on that note, like uh part of what's been so wonderful and fun working on Rex's manuscript is that like his story, like Four Eyes Pizza Face, like I have a lot of crossover in my life, with bullying, with feeling like, you don't fit in, and also like finding like a group of friends who are like really supportive, as well as, the support within your family. So um really a lot of like there was a lot of crossover, so it was very easy to put in things from like my own life that I knew like Rex would identify with, because like we both grew up reading comic books, like we both have very similar tastes in some regards, and again, like very similar personal experiences. So it was really fun to just like think of cool 90s references, comic references, things with like fashion or stuff, or stuff like that, because part of the process in working on Four Eyes and Pizza Face was sort of like, before I even start drawing pages, it's a design process. So it was really cool to design all the characters based off of Rex's references and notes, and then that would be passed through editorial, passed through to Rex, and like we would really land on something that we all really enjoyed. And the same thing goes with like drawing the pages too. So it was just really fun to really imbue a lot of fun details, because also it's quite a bit of a monumental task to draw more than 200 pages for these books. So you really have to pack in some fun for yourself, like when you're doing the work. It's just like with any job, you have to really make it fun for yourself, and I'm really happy that in turn it's really made it fun for everybody, working on it and reading it.
Yeah. And speaking of reading it, so going to same question for both. Whoever wants to go first. Do you have a favorite scene or moment from Pizza Face that you would like to tell us about?
Dave, you have to go first. I mean,
Oh
I know what
gosh.
mine is.
I think I really love a lot of the scenes in Act Three, like towards the back of the book, when Rex is getting like that emotional catharsis, like with his friends, with his family. There's a lot of the trials and tribulations that the characters go through, or Rex especially. Like he's able to like step up and really, mend burn bridges, like really like start having active conversations like with his family, with his close friends. And it was just really satisfying to work on those scenes, because again, like these are experiences that are very universal for teens everywhere. They were like I had that experience as well, so it's very heartening to be able to work on a book where people are able to kind of overcome like the little dramas that happen in junior high, and to cross through to the other side, and like mend your you know uh get over an argument with your family, or you know uh, have an olive branch to your friend, and you guys can fix your friendship. Like those are very cathartic to draw, because those are scenes I would really have loved to have in a book when I was a teenager. So it's been really fun to make those pages.
Yeah. Thank you. Rex, what about you?
I wasn't ignoring you. I was literally flipping through trying to find.
I figured.
I'm gonna be super gross. Ah!
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
It's so gross, and it's so funny because when I'm signing books, like I always turn to that page for some reason, and I show the kids, and they're like, "Ah!" And I'm like, that gross out factor. I mean, Dave nailed it. Yeah,
Oh,
to me,
thank
that's
you.
just that gross out factor that makes you cringe. Like that's what a book should do. And woo, well, well done.
oh. And thinking about like those moments that you've had talking with your fans, talking of readers of this book, what is some of the feedback that you've gotten from your readers?
Um, For Four Eyes, I only bring up Four Eyes because Pizza Face just came out in July.
Right.
So
Yeah.
and it's been summer, so I haven't done like a ton of school visits yet for
Mhm.
Pizza Face. But for Four Eyes, I mean, kids are always coming up to me and being like, "I wear glasses," or "I'm about to get glasses." And it's nice to like engage with kids, and I think it's going to happen even more with Pizza Face because while there's a lot of kids who get glasses, there's even more kids who go through puberty and get pimples. I'm also really excited because there people are always saying, like teachers and librarians and even parents are like, boys don't read. And I'm like, that's because we need more books for boys, written by boys for boys. Um, and I mean, I think it's great that there's so many books for girls, but I think we need like more graphic novels for boys, just because I think boys want to read, but they want to see themselves in a book. And so like, I just think hopefully boys are going to gravitate towards this and girls too. I don't want to exclude girl readers. I want everyone to read it.
Yeah. Dave, what about you? Have you heard back from some of the readers?
I guess I have like kind of two parts to answer this question. The first is more pertaining to Four Eyes. When I was doing a lot of school visits or like letters I would get from students, like they really love the page in Four Eyes where Rex sees his ex best friend hanging out with one of his bullies, and they're at the grocery store and he hides in the freezer to try to avoid them. Like there must have been like 3 or 4 different kids who really pointed that out, and I was like, why is everyone gravitating towards the scene? And I thought about it. It really was like, if I was a teenager, like it's kind of it's kind of the comedy in the drama of
Mhm.
being a teenager. So like I really love that people like reacted to that, because it just reminds me of the way that like like real life isn't a story, but stories really help us live our lives. And it was just sort of heartening to see how kids like can kind of find the funny in that, like even though they're not friends anymore. It was a really funny scene that Rex wrote. And I guess the second part of my answer would be, there's this I don't know if people really respond to it, but it's something I really respond to. Kind of going back to what I said earlier, there's a scene in Pizza Face where Rex and his friend Scott are having a sleepover, and it really is the first time in the book that uh, two of the boy characters like really sit down and it's just like, well, hey, wait a minute, like the thing you're nervous about, I'm really nervous about too. And it really is this moment of them seeing each other, and it really speaks to what Rex just said of like why books for boys are really important, because it's a place where we can really have boys talk about their feelings, and that's something that we really don't encourage a lot. We could always encourage it more. And again, like to be working on a story where like that's visible, I really hope that it can really help young boys, especially like sensitive ones, like really feel seen. Because if you don't see an example, you're not going to be emboldened to try it out for yourself, to like share your feelings, to talk about like what's making you feel insecure, or to even just feel like your friends are people you can talk to about the more serious things.
Mhm. Yeah, and I guess within our reading culture in the United States, and we're talking about books for young boys, I mean, what other kinds of supports would y'all like to see within the publishing industry to promote books like this, to make more of it?
I mean, Scholastic's doing amazing. They're really giving us a lot of love. I mean, it's amazing how much support they've given us. Like clubs and fairs have been great. They got into Target, which is crazy. My head exploded this summer. So Scholastic's been great, but I think the publishing houses I think are definitely keeping an open eye for this stuff. But I think right now we need more writers, not just more male writers, but more writers of like diverse backgrounds, like neurodiversity, different races, different cultures, different skin colors, different genders. Uh, I just like, and I think publishing's been really good about that for the last few years. But I know one thing, and I'm not pooping on the publishing industry because they are really worked to death right now. But when I was in publishing, I was always going out and searching. And that's hard. I think a lot of editors wait for the people to come to them. But what I would do is go out to like independent art shows and like, scan people's portfolios and be like, oh, this person, like a lot of people can do pinups, but not everyone can do a book because sequential storytelling is so important. Which is how I found Dave, because like I was like, his art's so good. But then one of my friends was like, oh, I know him. He's like, have you ever seen his sequentials? And I was like, no. But it's been a small world. I think I've run into like 6 people who went to art school with Dave. So I'm like, it was meant to be.
Yeah.
Gigi, that's a really good question. Like I really do like, part of what I've been seeing just going to libraries, going to bookstores, is just like people, by people I mean like booksellers, librarians, really curating books that go well together. Like not like I've seen Four Eyes and Pizza Face paired up with Smile, or like The Magic Fish, or like a lot of other different books that touch on the same, like on the same wavelength, in terms of like young teenagers like really coping with very hard issues, or school troubles and things like that. I think that's really a great way to introduce like readers to read outside of their own experience as well. Because like, again, like when I was growing up, like there weren't any books like this at all. Like maybe picture books, but really nothing for teenagers or young adult genres. So like since there's more and more books out there that are inclusive and diverse, like it's really cool to see like people kind of doing that work to create that connective tissue of like how these books are all related together, so that younger readers really have everything at their disposal as possible, in order to the stories can reach them, really. So
Yeah, and I think encouraging, like we're talking about having more diversity in who is writing the stories, who's putting the stories out there, having stories that aren't just a mirror of your own experience, but a window into another person's experience is really valuable. And going to libraries, I mean, I was curious. So, have you been out in libraries promoting the book? What have you seen? What do you think of the state of libraries today?
Dave, you want to go first?
Is that a hard
Yeah, I mean,
question?
well, I just like it's funny. Like I really like libraries. I went to libraries like almost every week as a kid, and they really helped me build my personal momentum, and like wanting to learn, wanting to study art, wanting to study other artists. And I've really gone off of that momentum like as an adult, and I'm working on really like circling back so that I can give that energy back to libraries in my area. I just recently went and donated a lot of comics and graphic novels to a local library in my area, and really like it was very it was really fascinating, because like the library I donated to like really reminded me of the library I had growing up. Like it was a bit on the smaller side, not a lot of literature like in the children's section, and but it I don't know. So it's funny. Like I looked it up recently, and like the library in my hometown doesn't even like have a copy of like Rex and Mai's book, and
Mm.
it's that kind of just, it's something that really stays with me, because like it's really important to like to support the libraries around us, because like everybody, it's like a buzzword everybody has been talking about all the time, is we don't have third spaces anymore. And but people at the same breath, like they don't really think of a library as a third space, because like there's something that's always around us, and it really is something that we need to make sure that we can help cultivate, like as individuals, as people in our own towns. And because like we really can't take those things for granted. Like it really is like our personal responsibility, because like it's again, like younger readers are only going to be as successful as the community that nurtures them. And we're part of that community that can help like libraries. And so it's something I think about a lot. Absolutely.
Thank
Like
you.
what can we always be doing? So yeah.
Yeah.
I think about it all the time, and if any librarians want to hit me up on Instagram, we'll talk their ear off. Because I go to so many school and library events, and it's been so great. Like American Library Association, Texas Library Association, because I'm from Texas. I was a really, really poor kid. We were, evicted from our place. We had home instability. We had food insecurity. I was on the free lunch program, and some of the poverty kind of pops up in Four Eyes and Pizza Face. Like it's in the background, like it's not the thesis of the story, but it is in there. And the thing is like I used to go to the Grapevine Public Library because even though we were super poor, my mom moved us to a very rich town in Texas. And I used to go to the public library, which was beautiful. And the librarians were so nice. And they had a huge kids section. And I did the reading challenges every summer so I could get the free Pizza Hut personal pan pizza. I mean, I would read like 20 books a day and be like, yo, give me a coupon. I need pizza. But I will say, like, there was a librarian who I think knew because I would come in for 8 hours on the weekend and she would share lunch with me, which was amazing. And I've talked to some librarians and they like have fruit baskets and kids can grab, a banana or an apple when they come in the library, which I think is amazing. So that's really cool. I like when I go into like lately I've been exploring all the libraries in Los Angeles and there's a lot. But the public library system here is amazing. I've gone to the Silver Lake branch, the Atwater branch, the Glendale branch, but I went to the central one downtown and it's this massive space. It's beautiful. They've got these huge children's sections that are beautifully curated. And I wish that kids went more because I think now kids are on social media. They're on their phones. They're playing video games. They're, electronics all the time. And I wish more kids were going to the library because it's such a great space. And I hope poor kids are, because I feel like when I go, I see my brown people. I see all my Mexicans. I feel like I see a lot of my people like in the library and not a lot of other people. And that could just be a California, Texas thing because there are a lot of us in both of those states. But I'm really happy that they're going in there because a lot of kids that I want reading my books, or sorry, me and Dave's books, I want them reading the books, but a lot of them can't afford it. Which is why I'm glad we're with Scholastic because the clubs and fairs sell them at discount and the libraries are so great. I mean, they put them out there and the kids just love graphic novels. So I'm very honored to do that. And I always, every time I get a book out, I send a copy to my library that I grew up in just to make sure.
I bet they love that. Well, and thanks for the support and everything that y'all said, because I think libraries very much want to support all children and everybody in all walks of life. And so all the things that y'all have been talking about, that is what we're working for every day. So, and then I did want to take this last couple minutes. Do you guys have do we want to shine a spotlight on anything upcoming?
Dave, you go first.
No, I've been going first. You go now, Rex.
Okay, so I've been wanting to write my whole life. I literally have a spreadsheet with like the next 30 years of books I want to write. 6 months ago it was 20 years and now it's 30. I just have so many ideas. I've been stockpiling them. Some of them are already written. Some of them are brand new ideas. So I have 3 books coming out next year. And I think 3 books every year for the next few. But I'm trying to get Dave to do some more projects with me. We definitely have a 3rd book in the series, Four Eyes, Pizza Face, and the 3rd one, which will come out in early 2026, which the title was Weirdo. Now it might be Fruitcake. We'll see. We don't know what the final title is going to be, but Dave is illustrating it. It's amazing.
Very cool. Well, cool. And Dave, anything?
Dave's going to work on some new stuff too. He's going to work on some of his personal stuff, I think.
Yeah, Dave, what else are you working on?
Mostly working on this next book that Rex just talked about. Like it's going to be the last year of Rex's middle school experience. And so everything that you've been reading in Pizza Face, like it's going to be, magnified, like more of the teen drama, but also more of just like, a lot of their real deep, serious stuff that kids need to be reading about. So I'm really excited to kind of be doing the last chapter of this trilogy that we're working on, and from there, really, like Rex has said, we're really looking to find ways to keep collaborating, because it's just been a wonderful experience so far. And again, I keep saying the word momentum. We've got momentum, so we want to see where it takes us.
Well, thank y'all both so much. This has truly been a beautiful experience getting to know you both and hearing about your work, and looking forward to more coming up. Every library has got Banned Books Week coming up next month, and we're going to have events for that. And just look forward to seeing more of both of you.
Yeah, and hit me up on Instagram at Third Rex.
Yes.
Or just librarians. I love talking with y'all. I want to hear what I can do to help y'all, what y'all are looking for. And I also have a newsletter that is mostly about, it gives sneak peeks, but it also talks about like ways for y'all to do self-care, because I know y'all are working your butts off. Yeah. So thank you for all you do.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you, Gigi.
Thanks. Have a great night. Bye.
You too. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.